Today I'll be going over the last part of the AP English Language and Composition exam, which is the argument essay. Unlike the previous two essays, this one does not require you to read a text and then write. You will instead read a short prompt that asks for your stance on the subject and then write however you want. But that doesn't mean that you can just write whatever comes to mind. Like with all other essays, you need a clear 5-paragraph structure, complete with an introduction, 3 arguments, and a conclusion. The essay prompts they give you for this essay vary a lot from year to year. They generally ask your opinion on an issue or what you think about a topic. There's no special preparation, and the questions will be very different every year. But while there isn't much of a need to prepare your knowledge on certain topics, you do have to practice the format of a persuasive essay. So by now you definitely know how to start off an essay with a thesis, or the main point. Give a bit of context first as an introduction to your subject, then state the main position you're taking. For the persuasive essay, you'll need at least 2 points and probably no more than 3, because you're working under a time limit, and this is a framework that you should generally follow. The one thing you should do to prepare for the persuasive essay is to just practice over and over with varying prompts. So here's a prompt from 2019. You can look it over and try to write a rough draft, even if you've never done a persuasive essay before. Also, try to stay within the suggested time, but if this is your first practice, going over 40 minutes is also fine, as long as you don't go over by too much. Pause the video and time yourself if you want. It's alright if you have no prior experience writing the persuasive essay. Out of the 3 essays, I personally think that this is the easiest essay to improve, because it doesn't really require great reading or rhetorical analysis skills. All you have to do is express your own opinion and back it up with some reasons. I've attached a link to sample answers of this question. You can read through each one and see if you can feel a difference in the quality. Now we'll go over a recent rubric for this essay. So these are the points that you'll get for the thesis. So you get 1 point for a thesis that you can defend. That means your thesis gives a clear position on your opinion, and it also provides supporting reasons for your claim. Responding to the prompt before, I could say that classical literature is overrated, for example, but I need to give reasons. Also, I can't just say that I think classical literature is overrated, but sometimes it's also underrated, because the question only wants to know about something overrated. And not giving a clear stance means you're not answering the prompt properly. Your answer has to be absolute, if that's possible. A thesis that does not even answer the question will not get a point. Basically, that means that I have to answer the question about something that's overrated, so make sure not to ever read the question wrong. And another thing about the thesis, be careful not to simply restate the prompt. You're not just repeating the question, you should provide your own answer as well, and read the additional notes too. The thesis can be more than 1 sentence, so don't worry if you can't express your stance in a few short words. The thesis can also be anywhere in your essay. However, I wouldn't recommend putting your thesis anywhere other than the first paragraph. Going in a logical sequence from your overall claim to individual evidence makes the most sense for me, and helps me keep my ideas organized. But if putting your thesis at the end also works for you, then you can try that. These are the points that you'll get for evidence. Evidence takes up a lot of points, so make sure not to mess it up, even if you don't have a great thesis or conclusion. To get a 4-point response, the evidence has to be specific and actually help support your claim. So focusing on the classic literature being overrated example, I can't say that not enough people are reading classics. As an example, that just doesn't support my thesis that classics are overrated. In fact, it contradicts my thesis, which is even worse. The evidence will have to be a valid reason, also, not just it's overrated because I think it is. There is also a point for sophistication, which means that your thoughts are layered and complex, not just simple, straightforward statements. And I think you'll be fine here as long as you provide good evidence and analyze it properly. Here's another prompt that you can practice with. This prompt is difficult because it might be hard to understand at first. The key takeaway from the prompt is the last part where it says, before we can have every possible fact in hand, we have to decide. The key is not to make quick decisions, but to make timely decisions. You have to basically argue whether you agree with this statement. So do you agree that timely decisions are more important than quick ones? If you do, you can provide 3 examples to support your thesis. But if you don't, then use 3 pieces of evidence that support why you think the opposite. When writing the persuasive essay, you can use personal examples and anecdotes as well. For example, you can talk about a time you made a quick decision versus when you made a timely one, and evaluate the difference. That type of example is allowed. There's not much more to say regarding the persuasive essay. Stick to the 5-paragraph structure as always, and employ examples and anecdotes effectively. Practice as much as you can with real prompts from College Board as well. Good luck.